What is up, you guys? Welcome back to the Seoul Dojo Gaming Channel. My name is Curtis Russell, and I write about video games. And I'm joined with one of my favorite people in the world, Bay Area rapper Voltaire. How you doing, man?
Doing good, man. It's nice to be back. You know, it's been a while since we did one of these.
Yes, it definitely has, and we're bringing back Dear Video Games because that was a great podcast.
Yeah,
we love it.
It's great. It's fun to do. Like, you know, I know you had to, go out and be like a real journalist for a little while and everything.
All right, so today we're talking about. This is our Game of the Year watch here on the Seoul Dojo. I usually do it yearly. I didn't really do it last year, but I love talking about Game of the Year stuff because it's about acknowledging some of the games that did it all this year, that was really good in the media. Everybody had buzz around it, got really good scores, and we're talking about some of the best games of this year, of course, 2022. So this list, 5 games from this list were compiled in an article that was on .esports.com. You guys should go check them out. I just got like a few of these games off of there because this was a really good list. I really like this list, but a little bit. So the first game we're going to talk about is Stray, or what everybody else knows about.
So much about that.
Yeah, what everybody else calls the cat game. Have you played Stray yet?
I have not played it. I kept thinking it was going to come onto Game Pass, so I was holding off on buying it. But I think I was getting it mixed up with how it's on one of the higher tiers of PS Plus, which I have not gotten around to paying for yet.
I don't know anybody that pays for that just yet. I don't know.
It's tempting because I want to be out, to see all like to play shit like Stray or like the old PS2 games and stuff. But I just think it's kind of expensive though.
So Stray is a game. Yeah, it is expensive. Stray is a game that you're a cat in this, I guess you would say, like robot utopia, and you have to use like puzzle solving, and use like the game has really good physics, so like that kind of works with the puzzle solving, and it's like these really intricate smart puzzles that you have to go through to find your way home. And that's what Stray is about. A lot of people love it because they love cats. It's adorable. And it has a lot of charm. The game has a lot of charm. So I'm going to read off some of the review scores that this game got. IGN gave it an 8, Game Informer gave it an 8, and Metacritic got it a 83 out of 100. So this game is actually genuinely good.
Yeah.
Pretty
more
good
than you would
stuff.
expect for a game where you play as a cat, to be honest.
I believe the developers, it's an independent game too, so
I thought you were gonna say the developers were cats. I was like,
whoa,
that's even more impressive.
Game of the Year after that. Like, Game of the Year after that. Do we think this game is gonna get nominated for Game of the Year?
Having not played it, just witnessing the hype around it, I would say probably, at least from some areas, some different like magazines and shows and what have you. Just because it hasn't got blown up the way that a lot of games, do. I mean, it's not like when it first came out, I thought it was going to be like the next like Animal Crossing, like Elden Ring type of like big deal, but it didn't quite reach that level. But the people that I know who have played it just will not shut up about it. So.
That's always a good sign.
That's always a good sign, yeah.
Yeah, when you talk about, and we'll talk about this a little bit later when we talk about the other games, but there's a certain, games can be really good, but then there's like calibers and levels to certain games where it's like, you play a game, I think the perfect game to say is like Red Dead. You play Red Dead and you can see it's a different tier of game. It's like, bustles into like the top tier of games where it's like, this is absolute Game of the Year material. Stray, I don't think is that. You can look at this game and it's just like, it's a really good game. You can honestly recommend it to anybody, and it's a smart, intricate game. It's one of those games we get now where it's like the creativity's through the roof. It's really smart. It's really unique, and I think it's going to be nominated. And I think when we think about like other categories, I think this game will probably win a game like a category like maybe best game direction.
I can see that. Yeah. Like original idea and stuff like that. A lot of places will have those types of categories and stuff.
Totally. Do you think this game has a chance of being Game of the Year?
It's just up against a lot, It's up against quite a bit.
Not this year, Stray. I'll just say that. Not this year. Like, not this year. The next game we're going to talk about is Cult of the Lamb. This game is in my back category. You know my back
It's
category.
another one that I keep hearing about, but I don't really know that much about it. Like, it's funny because like whenever someone like on YouTube talks about it, they get all coy and talk about it like because it's like a real cult or whatever. You know? And I'm
Yeah.
well, this is really fun to watch, but I still don't know anything about the game.
It looks so cool. You play as like like this, I guess, this possessed lamb. You play this possessed lamb that's been possessed by this demonic entity or whatever, and you have to build a following that follows this entity in the name of this entity, right? Wow. And this game looks really cool. The art style reminds me of Don't Starve, which I think I think that's on Game Pass now, right?
Yeah, I played it a little bit on Game Pass.
I like it. The main character on that kind of looks like you a little bit.
Shout out to games where you play as animals. It's like big nowadays.
Yeah, yeah, it's really cool. It's
a simulator run. I've watched so that all these games could run.
Yeah, exactly. Cult of the Lamb. Awesome game. It looks really fun. It's a cult building game. It looks really fun, really intricate. Looks like it has a whole bunch of things going for it, features. I cannot wait to play it. And I think it deserves a nomination, honestly.
Yeah, you know, because it's an indie game, right? I think I think more of the lower budget indie games deserve like recognition about like, you know,
it's very creative. The first two games we talked about, very creative games, and I really like it. I think another category this game will stomp out will be best art direction, because I love the art style in this game. Looks really good. The next game you could make a bit of a case for, and it is Horizon Forbidden West.
I genuinely love that game. I haven't beaten it yet, just because like we were talking about before we started filming, like just a backlog, so I've been kind of cycling around different games and stuff. But yeah, I've been playing it again like recently and doing a bunch of story missions and stuff, and it's just really good. Like I thought that the first one was overlooked, you know, and unfortunately so is this one. They picked the worst times to release Horizon games, you know. The first one was the day before Breath of the Wild or something, and then the next one was like the same day as Elden Ring. It's like, Sony, read the room, you know.
Read the room. They have to read the room.
Wait 1 week.
One at least. I really like this game. I've beaten it. It's bigger. It's better than the first one. They did everything right. They did exactly what a sequel should be. It should be better than the first one. It should improve in all areas. And I think Horizon Forbidden West does just that. And it sets up, like we said, we're not trying to spoil anything, especially for you, Voltaire, because you haven't beaten it yet. But it sets up for another game to come.
Yeah, that's awesome. I just think that it's really, really well done in a lot of ways. And it's like, I really enjoy the combat and the puzzles and stuff, and they can be tricky but not frustrating. So it's like when you finally figure out the puzzle, or she says like, "Oh, what if this over here?" And I'm like, "Oh, hell yeah!" You know what I mean? It's like it feels fun and rewarding and stuff. And you know, I'm not normally like huge on graphics. Like, I mean, I enjoy good graphics, but they're not just like at the top of my list or whatever.
Yeah.
But the facial animations.
Yes.
On like, especially because I've played on the PS5, and it's like it's unreal. Like it's so crazy. Like, and there's a bit of this in God of War also, where you can actually kind of like read their facial expressions and see like reactions to different characters and stuff, like as if it was live action. Which is like, yeah, I'll be playing it during a cutscene, I'll just be like, this is fucking crazy.
This is really good. I agree with you 1,000%. I kind of forgot about that because I haven't played it since probably about March or April. This game has some of the best facial animation in gaming, period.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
It's really mind-blowing. Yeah.
It is amazing.
The acting, like, that's been a real thing I've noticed with PlayStation games the past few years, is the acting. It's really good. Like I think I said this last time we did a episode. I feel like Sony should just get the people who make their games to make their movies. They're way better at it.
Very, very true. Yeah. In Horizon Forbidden West, it's like even side characters that are not even that important. They have that the acting is good, the voice acting is good, the facial animations make them feel very lifelike. What I really like about Horizon Forbidden West, even the first one, is that even if you're not getting all the collectibles or crafting all the items and stuff like that, you can still beat these enemies. But if you have those elements that are weakened, that weaken these enemies, you get through the game a lot quicker, a lot better. It's a lot more efficient. And I really like that because it rewards you for the time that you put in other areas in the game. It really rewards you really well.
There's like a night and day difference between if you take the time to explore and if you don't, because I sort of just in Zero Dawn, I sort of just picked my favorite couple of weapons and stuck with them for the whole game.
Exactly.
And by the end of the game, I was just struggling. I was like hella struggling by the end of the game. But so in this one, I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna get some of everything. I'm gonna make sure I got all the elemental shit and everything. I'm gonna run around and collect plants for like hella long before getting into battles, and then I just go in and just overwhelm everything. It's like,
Definitely. 100%. I think me and you are very much on the head with this one. IGN gave it a 9. Game Informer gave it a 9.25. I mean, some people don't like scores like that, but I understand why they do it. Metacritic gave it an 88 out of 100. Nomination, yes, definitely.
Absolutely, yeah. It would be like honestly disrespectful to not at least nominate it.
Yeah, definitely. Any other rewards? Maybe like Aloy could probably win like Best Female Actress again. She did a really good job.
I think she won at the big televised game awards last time, right?
I believe so. And even if somebody else, maybe Silas, the guy that plays Silas, could win it.
He's great. Yeah, he's really good.
Really good.
Yeah, and like just like you said, some of the random supporting characters, the big dude with the beard that gets like the concussion or whatever.
Yeah.
He's so good at acting. I'm like, I want to see this guy in movies now.
Really, really good stuff, man. I love when games do that, man. It's awesome. Does this game have a chance to win Game of the Year?
I mean, sort of. I mean, I think, especially if you start to take into consideration like all the different Game of the Year awards that are handed out by different publications and whatnot, because I remember when the first one came out, that was the year Breath of the Wild won all the Game of the Year awards everywhere, except for there was a smattering, like What Culture and a couple of other YouTubers and some like just random outlets like that did actually give Horizon their Game of the Year. So,
I could see it. Yeah,
it's non-zero chance, and honestly, it would deserve it because it's a masterpiece of a game.
It's a good game, and you played it on PlayStation 5.
Yeah,
and I played it on PlayStation 4. You played it on PlayStation 5, and I have like a copy of it, but I can also upgrade my copy, so I'm gonna definitely try to do it. It definitely has a way better chance of winning than the first two games that we talked about. I'll say that. So the first game, I want to say you played it, Voltaire, maybe, is Tunic.
I haven't played it. I keep like almost playing it because it's on Game Pass, and I'll hover over it and then get distracted or whatever.
In Game Pass, it's not even about money. It's about, do I have the time to enjoy this game?
It's what is that? Oh, what is that? Yeah.
Tunic is like the Fox version of Legend of Zelda.
Okay. I've seen a lot of footage of it. I have like a handful of people that I know say rave reviews about it. Like essentially what you're saying, it's like Zelda on the Xbox,
It's really good. It's the game art style is really good. The combat is very challenging. It's almost Dark Souls like a little bit. There is like you have to kind of collect your souls again or whatever. I haven't played it in a minute. The lighting in this game is some of the best lighting in gaming, I think.
Wow.
It's really that's how you play a lot of games when you can actually pick out those particular features and be like, this is some of the best I've seen. Like this is
lighting
amazing.
Is one of those things that when like for the most part, if you can see shit, then it's fine. It's whatever. Don't really notice it. But when it's particularly good, it's like whoa. It's like dazzling. You know what I mean?
100%.
Really done well.
Yeah, 100%. It's the cartoony art style has a little bit of hyper realism in it a little bit. It's just a beautiful looking game, and the story really good. It is very Legend of Zelda like with the story, like just a mute character, fighting all these monsters. It is really good. IGN gave it a 9. Game Informer gave it a 9.75, very close to a 10.
Wow. They very just wanted to piss off fans of the game.
That extra 0.75, you're not getting it. Sorry.
Yeah.
Metacritic gave it a 85 out of 100. Gotta try it, Voltaire. I definitely strongly recommend it. It's a really good game. Okay, let's get to the big ones, the meat and potatoes of the game of the year, our game of the year watch. The first game we're going to talk about is Elden Ring.
I was wondering because that came out
It came
in
out
January or December,
February.
February.
I'm gonna fact check.
What is time now?
What is
time?
what is time
Yeah.
in this weird? I'm gonna look it up. It's gonna be weird to look it up because I don't want us to stray away from the screen, and I'm not saying stray because of the game. Okay. Let me look it up here. Okay, Elden Ring.
So I haven't played it myself because I'm bad at Souls-like games and also a coward. But I did, I did watch a buddy of mine. I have been watching a buddy of mine stream it on Twitch, and it is like it is interesting to see FromSoft just iterate on and improve upon that. Like everything that they've made since what is it, Demon Souls has pretty much been Demon Souls remastered. You know what I mean? But they build on it so much that it's like culminated in this like really gorgeous like super like well done game like.
Yeah, totally. It came out on February 25th, so that was this year. This game for maybe 7 months, give or take, had the gaming industry by the scruff of the neck. Everybody was talking about it. Everybody was talking about guides and secrets of this game. This game was easily the biggest game for 7-8 months.
Like most of it was fun. Like, and I know this is a really funny comparison, but it did actually remind me of Animal Crossing in that when that came out, everyone was in quarantine and it just dominated like not just gamer circles but like pop culture for like several months. I think I even remember saying that it should have been considered for Game of the Year because of that. You know what I mean?
Totally,
and
totally.
And so yeah, I mean. When I think of two games that are really similar to each other,
it's Animal Crossing and Elden Ring, which are completely different in so many ways. If you put anything from Elden Ring in Animal Crossing, everything dies in Animal Crossing. Everything is destroyed.
Just going up to the net.
Yeah, it's just over. It's just over. Like, I think I played Elden Ring. Played loads of Elden Ring. I've restarted on Elden Ring 4 or 5 different times. Nice. I love this game. I think this game, if you want to compare it to anything, it's a lot like Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, which is one of the best games ever created.
Like that's what I remember thinking when I was watching my buddy play it. I was like, he's not a big Zelda fan, and so this was kind of get under his skin. I was like, wow, this really reminds me a lot of Breath of the Wild.
It does because there's no story getting thrown in your face. You have to kind of find that within the world, just like in Breath of the Wild. It's an open world game that you kind of have to forge your own kind of way and forge your own story. If you want to just kind of run through everything, that's a little bit more difficult to do in Elden Ring, where in Breath of the Wild you can be shirtless and run into Ganon, the Hyrule Castle and try to kick
out.
But yeah, you could do that, definitely do that. But it's this new age of, and we talked about it before on Dare Video Games, it's this new style of open world games that we're starting to see that Breath of the Wild kind of kicked off.
Yes, I was just thinking about that. Like, it's in Horizon also with the you can float around on their little thing.
The glider, yeah.
Someone played Breath of the Wild.
Someone did. But Horizon Forbidden West is a little bit more traditional in that fact of like wave points. You go here, go here, go here, go here, do that, and you're finished. These games are just, you have a task, find out how to do it. And that's what makes Elden Ring so unique and so great, with that added on combat of Dark Souls and that Dark Souls vibe, or Demon Souls if you want to go back that far.
There's Souls-like,
Souls-like, exactly.
And it's like, and I'm not the biggest fan of Dark Souls games. I don't dislike them. I'm just, like I said, I'm not really that good at them, so I don't normally buy them when they come out. I'll get them later, And but anytime I've played any Souls-like that calls itself that wasn't made by FromSoft, there's just such a huge drop off of quality. You know what I mean? Like they're like the only people that can make a game like that and have it be like engaging for like the whole game. You know? Yeah. It's like it's
very, very unique game. I think it's It's special. I mean, for some reason with Elden Ring, I just can't get past certain places, but I always go back to it. Like, it's just like, I need to get past all this, but it's an amazing game. Absolutely amazing game. And Breath of the Wild, Elden Ring is a dissertation of Breath of the Wild, how good Breath of the Wild is, and how Breath of the Wild is just in that upper echelon of video games.
And I'm pretty sure Miyazaki would say as much, like,
Oh, yeah.
I've seen hella quotes from him where he's like, where people are like, oh yeah, this thing in Breath of the Wild reminds you of Dark Souls or whatever, and he's like, Dark Souls has been ripping off the Legend of Zelda the whole time.
He's like with his Legend of Zelda T-shirt on.
Yeah,
yeah. I don't know. Legend of Zelda's pretty good. Yeah, and you got a whole T-shirt on and stuff.
Yeah. Miyamoto's face tattooed on him.
Elden Ring. IGN gave Elden Ring a 10. Game Informer gave Elden Ring a 10, and Metacritic gave it a 96 out of 100. Wow. So, wow. Will this game get nominated? 100% it will.
Absolutely. So much the people nominating are just mad.
Yeah, they're just like...
It's like me doing like, oh, fuck this game.
I'm tired of this game. Get it out of here. Will it win any other awards? I think definitely it will, but I'm not sure what. Maybe writing?
Yeah, like first thing that jumps to my mind when I think of stuff that those games that FromSoft games tend to do really well is like the character design, like the art style, like very unique stuff. Even when it's like Bloodborne, I feel like it's a game that's very ugly but like pretty. You know what I mean?
I love
it. I love the art style, but it's like really they really do it that like ugly, like gross style so well. And then the other thing is the music. I feel like those games have excellent scores.
Yeah, totally. Of course, George R.R. Martin written this game.
Oh, that's right. I actually completely forgot about that.
Yep. He did that. So it's top echelon writing.
Dark Souls, the plot. I mean,
with the plot. What? Who would have known? Who would have known? Do you think this? Of course, does this game have a chance of winning Game of the Year? Absolutely, 100% yes.
Yeah.
Of course,
games, actually.
Yeah. A couple of years ago, Sekiro won Game of the Year, which is from the same company. And I believe Dark Souls is probably won Game of the Year at some point.
I'm sure it was a bit more underground, I think, when those games were coming out, but surely it's won at least some,
Totally.
Bloodborne. Sony has a Game of the Year edition of Bloodborne. They wouldn't lie about that.
Yeah, exactly. The next game is, we're actually switching spots here. I haven't played yet until Friday. I will play it on Friday. This game you've play tested. I don't want to get shut down by Sony, but he didn't tell Sony. He didn't tell me anything. I didn't even know. Like when you messaged me that you played this game, I said, and you didn't tell me.
I had to hold on to that for like a couple of 2 or 3 months, I think.
that is insane.
I wonder if God of War is going to be like Game of the Year, and I'm like,
I know the answer to this. Yes, God of War Ragnarok is out. IGN gave it a 10. Game Informer, controversially, gave it a 9.5. Metacritic gave it a 94.
It's when it's controversial when it gets a 9.5.
Yeah,
like
true.
When Jim Sterling gave Breath of the Wild an 8, and everyone was mad at them for like a year and a half.
Yeah,
like that's how you know the game is good.
Yeah, that is very true. The fact that everybody's like, it's not a 10, how? And Metacritic gave it a 94 out of 100. In Metacritic, I've never seen him give 100 out of 100. I don't think a game will ever reach that.
Like I think Breath of the Wild and maybe like Death Stranding or something was for a second, but then how their aggregates work.
Yeah. I got you 100%. God of War my thing, and before we jump into your actual experience with the game, I think when I look at this game, when I look at everything that Santa Monica Studios is bringing, it looks like the first game plus more. That's just kind of what I get from it. So automatically it's like already good.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's gonna... What game is a good example of like something that's already good? I don't see it being like a Red Dead situation where like the Red Dead Redemption and then Red Dead Redemption 2 is just absolutely way better in every aspect, and it's amazing because the first game only exactly. The first one only came out a few years ago, so it's like it just seems like it's more God of War, and that's just It's the same game, but just a little bit more of it with
Mhm.
probably some more features. I don't know if I'm wrong about that.
It trips me out. It picks up more or less exactly where the last one ended. Like, it's yeah. I mean, that game blew my mind. Like, okay, I already really loved the first one,
Hmm.
and like
Amazing game.
it's so good. Like it really is like a huge um step forward in the quality of like storytelling in games and the balance of storytelling with like gameplay, because usually one or the other is like kind of an afterthought, and it's like the acting is so good and the animation is great and the art design is great, and then that's the first one, and then this one it just takes all of that up to like a whole other level. And when I was playtesting it on the PS4, and then I just now I yesterday I guess I downloaded it onto the PS5, and I've been playing that version of it, and it's just yeah, it's great. It's I can't every single aspect of it is so perfectly done. Like I would be shocked if any other game won more Game of the Year awards, to be
Hmm.
honest. It's
Okay.
just it is a fucking masterpiece. Um right off the bat, it hits you with just that strong acting, the like emotional beats. I was
Hmm.
sitting there in San Mateo at the PlayStation headquarters with my COVID mask and my headphones on and my little cubicle, just bawling, just bawling tears.
I think that's one of the strong suit of this game. Definitely, it's that bond between Atreus and Kratos. And I think when it comes to Sony games or PlayStation games at this point, when you look at The Last of Us, when you look at this game, these games have such a different level of quality to them.
It's wild.
And it's not even just the acting, because yeah, you're right, the acting is top tier.
Hmm.
It's the gameplay that is
Yeah.
absolutely triple A superb quality. When you look at games like Elden Ring, they have that gamey feel. I don't know if you kind of get what I'm saying. They have
Yeah, I
like
get what you mean. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, kind of like it feels like it looks and feels like an actual video game. These look like cinematic, or they look and feel like cinematic sequences that you're going through, except
Mhm.
of course they do have a lot more of the gameplay action, especially in God of War.
What I like about God of War is that it isn't sort of like afraid to kind of lean into the gaminess, like it's like you're eating venison or something.
Yeah.
But like it isn't like afraid to like lean into like being a video game at times, like with like the boss fights and stuff, and um it's just frantic. All sorts of people are throwing shit at you from all different
Hmm.
angles, and there's like the multiple life bars and all this kind of stuff going on, and like switching between weapons and doing the different tricks and everything. And it feels so great when you're like really getting it. But then
Hmm.
it's like you miss the button one time, and then you're just like, oh no 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 no.
The game, and I'm going off the first one. The combat is so good
Hmm.
in this game. I mean, because it went from like frantic ass kicking to like
Hmm.
it's doing it, but it's so much closer to Kratos.
Yeah.
Like, it's almost over the shoulder, basically.
Yeah. And
It's
like
really good.
and I think it takes that and then it just iterates on it and just improves it and just slightly enough to where it's noticeable, but not wholly different from the first game, which I think is a good thing. And it's like, and that, yeah, when you compare it to like the God of War games from like the PS2,
Hmm.
those are like arcadey, like hack and slash, like they're not like the top down or 2D ones, but they play like those games. And then you come here and it's like this like slower paced,
Hmm.
like the game overall is slower paced, and then the combat is just hella in your face and just like
Brutal.
all sorts of stuff going on. And
Yeah.
I, in my feedback to the developers, I even said I was like, I really appreciate how you're able to do challenging combat that feels fair, but also doesn't feel like you're just trying to do Dark Souls. I told
Yeah.
him that.
Yeah.
I was like, nothing against Dark Souls. I just feel like there's like a Dark Soulsification of video games that's getting a little annoying sometimes, and
Yeah.
I'm glad that you're not leaning into that. You know what I mean?
No, what? I understand 100%. I really like that. I really like that. Um, I read off the scores already. Okay, definitely a Game of the Year nomination, 100,000%.
Mhm.
Will it win any other awards? The funny thing is, so the first God of War from this one won Game of the Year over Red Dead Redemption 2.
Trying
And
to
Red
remember.
Dead was sweeping the Game Awards,
I do remember
absolutely
that. Yeah.
sweeping it. And then the last award, Game of the Year, ended up going to God of War. In my own personal opinion, I'm not mad about it because it was either that game or the other game. It's the same thing with Elden Ring. It's either God of War or Elden Ring. I see that. Either one wins, I'm fine. In my own opinion, I felt like Red Dead Redemption was the better game that year, for my own, personal reasons. Of course, does this game have a chance to win Game of the Year? 100%. Okay. So its main competition is Elden Ring.
It won my Game of the Year in June or whatever. I just couldn't tell anybody about it.
Right. You was just like, oh, this is it. This is it. So its main competition is Elden Ring. Like I said on with the comment on Facebook, this is not straightforward for God of War whatsoever. I think for God of War to win it, it's going to have to be absolutely stellar. Elden Ring is such a phenomenon, an amazing game, and whichever game really wins it, I think deserves it. Either one.
Yeah, I don't know if God of War will have the like viral kind of like reach, you know what I mean? That something like Elden Ring did,
And that shouldn't matter as much, honestly. If the game is
it
good.
does. It just shouldn't make a difference, but it does. Like the I guess like memeability of something. You know what I mean?
Right.
Elden Ring, with Animal Crossing, even with like something like Death Stranding or Zelda, like there's so easy to like make memes of those games, like.
My name is Curtis Russell with the Soul Dojo Gaming Channel. This has been Voltaire Slapadelic. Voltaire, where can they find you on Twitter, and what's up with the rap game, man?
My new Twitter account is _Slapadelic. That's what it is. I guess my old account doesn't exist, was permanently banned because I was like inappropriate to Senator Ted Cruz or whatever, but
and we have it right below. It's the _Slapadelic. I was scared we didn't have that Twitter on there, but that's your Twitter right there. I'm looking at it.
And so I actually am coming out with music in the immediate future for once. The album I've been working on for how long, I actually kind of put it like on hold for a little bit because I joined with like the Globetrotters, and we're coming out with a bunch of shit. And then there's also this album that I've been kind of sitting on for a while. It's all instrumentals. It's like my own like renditions of different like classical music and stuff. And I just never really knew what to do with it. And then my last instrumental album called There Are No Words suddenly just started blowing up on Spotify. And so I was like, well, I have this whole other one. I should probably come out with it. So look for that. Hopefully around Christmas-ish, just before Christmas.
Awesome. Of course, my name is Curtis Russell. You can find me at Cali from the Dojo on Twitter. You can look at my stuff on Sports Gamers Online. I'm getting back into a lot of stuff on Game Luster, so a lot of things will be coming out from me here because I'm finally in my actual permanent space. It's been a minute to get here, but it's been a while, and we are back. Hopefully, we can do an episode of the Dear Video Games podcast next week. So make sure you guys subscribe to the Soul Dojo Gaming Channel, and we will check you guys later, all right? Peace.